Do you ever wonder if all that time you're spending in the pool is actually making you a faster swimmer? I've got 3 tests that you can use that are really going to help you track your progress in the pool so that you can feel either confident about your training or have plenty of time to make adjustments before race day. Hey, Eric with ewjtri with a free weekly video, always somehow related to triathlon and typically born from the many mistakes I've made in triathlon since 2006. So learn from my mistakes, people. Hit the red subscribe button now. Go on, I'll wait. Unfortunately, I know too many athletes who have done a race and then 12 to 16 weeks later, they do another race and they have virtually the same swim time and they're actually surprised. But they never measure their performance along the way. So swim tests are even more important because it can be really difficult to tell in the pool. I mean, if you swim a faster 50, that feels good, but does that really equate to your race? You're doing all these drills and different sets and different rests, and you don't rest when you race. So do these swim tests. Do these swim tests every 4 to 8 weeks, depending on your training schedule and what else you're doing. And that way, if you're doing well, great, continue with your training plan. And if not, maybe you could add more swim drills, less swim drills, more frequency of days, more intensity, but you at least know if you're making any progress based on what you've been doing. So there are all types of swim tests you can use at all different distances, but here's my favorite 3. So you get to the pool and make sure you know if it's 25 yard or 25 meter distance. You do your dry land exercises, your dynamic movements and activation exercises. Hopefully you get a lane by yourself for these tests is really the ideal situation. And then you're going to do a warm up in the water. 5 to 20 minutes, again, depending on your fitness level, depending on how much you've been swimming, but an absolute minimum of 200. You have to at least do that much, even if it's broken, just so you can get those muscles working in the water. And then throw in a couple of faster 25 yard. That's just one length where you're just picking up the pace, getting the arms moving a little faster, getting the legs kicking a little bit, and then take plenty of rest, 30 to 60 seconds after each one of those. You don't want to use all your energy during the warm-up, but you do want to get some faster speeds going. I know that pool water can be freezing, and a lot of times you just want to just jump in and go, because you're waiting for the icebergs to float by. It feels so cold in there. But it really is important to get in this warm-up for these time trials. So the first one, when you're ready to go, 1,000 yards or meters as fast as you can. Boom, you're done. If you don't swim with a watch that tracks your distance in the pool, or maybe don't swim with a watch at all, make sure to have a friend, a coach on deck that's able to time you as well as to count your laps. And that's actually the most important thing. It only took me 1,000 yard time trial doing it by myself to realize I don't count laps as accurately as I think. And to this day, I still think I only went 950 yards in that one. I'll never know. But now I use a watch that measures distance. And certainly if you have someone to time you, keep track for you, let you know when you're done, it can be really helpful. So you can just go as hard as you can for that full 1,000 yards. Then you take your average and you can use that as really a benchmark to create some workouts, as well as not only using the total distance time for the 1,000 yards. Make sure you do a cool down after this. So, again, minimum of 200 yards. Try to get a little bit more, 5 to 20 minutes, again, depending on how much you've been swimming and what your typical yardage is. One other thing to mention is that even though this is 1,000 yards as hard as you can go, you are not sprinting the first 100 or even 200. It's as hard as you can go for the full 1,000 yards. So really that first few hundred certainly shouldn't be easy, but you should feel like you've got some left. As you progress through to 300, 400, 500, 600 towards the end. By the end, you'll be gassed, but those first few hundred don't go out too hard. Now, if you can't swim that far or don't want to swim that far, or your race distance isn't that far, like last month I did Xterra Sholo in Arizona, and the race distance is only 800 meters. So I don't want to do a 1,000 yard time trial for that. So the solution is you have a 100 yard / 100 meter time trial option. So that's a little bit of a lie, because for this one, you actually have to do 300-mile time trials. So you swim 100 as hard as you can for that 100, take a 20-second rest, do a second 100, 20-second rest, third 100. Now, the important thing here is the average of the 300. So even though you do want to go really hard, you have to swim that first 100 just holding a tad bit back, knowing that you still have to do 2 other 100s. So it's the average pace of all 3, and that's what you use to measure your workouts, or to use that going forward, or really to track your progress. So that consistency over the 3, and that shortened a lot of time with minimal rest. Now, if neither of those 2 options appealed to you, option 3 is a nice compromise. From Simon Ward, of the triathlon coach, recommends a 400-yard, 400-meter time trial that really seems to be just as beneficial, especially for most age group athletes. More elite athletes or better age groupers may have to go longer, but that 400 seems to work really well and easier to duplicate because it's shorter and doesn't take up as much time. Especially helpful for lactate threshold estimates as well. So like I said, there are multiple different tests to use for swim performance, tracking your progress. But my favorite 3, number 1, 1,000 yards or meters without stopping, count the laps. Number 2, 400 yards without stopping. And then the third one is 3 100s separated by 20-second rests of each one. So put a comment as to which one works best for you. Good luck on your swim tests. And until next week, I will see you on the trails.